Year in review, 2024, 12 months of this government. January, the Paria fiasco. Remember that? Look at the screen. 2024 began with one of the most damning condemnations of the PNM government when the country was finally able to see the findings of the Lynch Commission of Inquiry into the 2022 tragic, horrific deaths of the Paria divers. The report found that Paria, Rowley's pet company, was guilty of gross negligence with respect to the divers and the way they processed them that they ended up dying. They should be prosecuted. They spent $16.9 million taxpayer dollars to date. The families of these divers are still waiting on justice because the board of directors and the senior management under whose watch this tragedy occurred were never fired, and they're still living off taxpayers' hefty salaries. Rowley's golfing partner, here we go again, lawyer, eater food lawyer Gilbert Peterson. You know how much he was paid? $8.9 million. Not 1 cent to the families of the divers, not 1 cent. $8.9 million to represent Paria in the Commission of Inquiry. The divers' families have received nothing. Paria's chairman, Newman George, another golfing partner of the Prime Minister, wasn't he the one who also went with him on when he went for his medical? Am I talking to you here? Yes, they had all gone with Rowley for medical. Yes, all the golfing partners went. But the chairman, Newman George, who had oversight of this debacle, Rowley's very close friend. And let me remind you, Rowley and his two partners, Eater Food, Gilbert Peterson, lawyer, and Newman George, guess what? They both have townhouses in Inez Gate in Tobago. Side by side, you know what a townhouse complex is like? Just like where you're sitting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down the road. They're neighbors all. The golfing partners, that's two I've named, they're more to name in a moment. So this fiasco in January of this year will go down as our nations in our history as one of the most barbaric, inhumane acts by any government. That is the legacy of this PNM. That is the legacy. February, $1 million wooden ladders. Remember those, Gavin? $1 million wooden ladders. In February, the PNM Rowley government, scandals continued when the country was made aware of the $1 million unusable ladders. Remember, they bought 20 wooden ladders for $999,000. That's $1 million from Amalgamated Security for the fire service. They could not use these ladders as they were unable to fit on the fire trucks. So that's $50,000 for a wooden ladder. Don't have me say that, please. You want to make a joke, you all make joke. These wooden ladders couldn't be used at all, not fit for purpose. Fire officers reportedly feared using ladders because they would risk getting injured. I am told that the ladders have been dumped at the back of the fire services headquarters. So that was February 2024. In February 2024, the Integrity Commission and the Auditor General's Office launched probes into this misuse of taxpayers' funds by the PNM government. March, SSA scandal. In March 2024, the country woke up one morning to hear from Rowley that the director of the SSA, Major Roger Best, Pastor Ian Brown, a special reserve officer assigned to the SSA, Security Supervisor Portel Griffith, and Sergeant Sherwin Waldron, assigned to the SSA, was sent on leave over what we later find out that they revealed to be a planned religious coup against the Rowley government. That was the scandal in March, SSA. Up to date, no one has been charged. No one has been charged. Nothing has come of that. He just fired all of them. Reminds me of what other people have done in other countries like Venezuela, where the dictators move out key personnel everywhere. That was one of the most baffling stories to come out of a government, with murder and mad people as the star characters, which shows that Rowley cannot even control an organization on his own nose, because he is the chairman of the National Security Council. No wonder we have unprecedented levels of crime and murders under this government. Moving along, April, dead babies at the NICU. You remember that? You see, we forget these things, you know. And I'm just doing this per month, not per week or per day. The bacchanals continue, Bacchanal 1, Bacchanal 2, Bacchanal 3, Bacchanal 4. We're in April, Bacchanal 4, April. Dead babies at the NICU. In April 2024, the country was shell-shocked to learn about the deaths of 19 babies at Port of Spain General Hospital in the NICU. And you see, that is what spite and malice and ill will does. Because we had built the Couva Children's Hospital, which was fully equipped for children, had its own NICU, own unit there. Dr. Bodo would know. I'm seeing Dr. Bodo somewhere. He would know. Many of the doctors here and elsewhere will know. It was fully equipped to treat with those kinds of situations. So this heart-rending tragedy caused an uproar in the country. A PAO investigation into the matter later found, among other things, this is what they found, PAO. Up to now, we don't know which of this has been dealt with, which is a terrible Terence is doing. Some people call him the minister of death. But man, you should hang your head in shame and never show your face again when 19 newborn babies died under your watch and you still sitting there and going back for a seat. St. Joseph, what we say? Vote them out, vote him out, vote him out, vote him out. These were the issues that the PAO found, like this: pure negligence, active surveillance of monthly HAI bloodstream infection, BSI rates, is not conducted. This is at the Port of Spain Hospital. This is what they found when they did it. Outbreak identification and number of outbreaks in the last year data are not reported. Microbiology stood at 40% compliance. The 40%, you're less than 50%, you're half dead, or more than half dead. 40% non-compliance. External performance evaluation and internal quality assessment are not performed. Policies and procedures for prevention of surgical site wound infection in OB theater is not done. There was an inadequate ratio of nursing professionals to patient ratio. That is the hallmark of the Rowley government and terrible Terence Singh. They are baby killers and harbingers of death and destruction in every sector in our country. That was April. Moving along. Bacchanal 5, the Auditor General's report scandal. Missing $3 billion. In May, our country learned that one of the biggest thefts in our history, when the Auditor General revealed that $3 billion of taxpayers' money was missing from government statement of revenue. That was in May this year. Up to now, we can't find this money. Where the money gone? Where has this $3 billion gone? We will find out, because when we form the government, we'll be a thorough criminal probe. Where is this $3 billion? You know how much we could have done with $3 billion, with schools, fix roads, yes, improve the healthcare system. So much we could have done. Where's it? Box drains, yes, for the flooding, you're right, so much. We found out then there's $3 billion money missing. This, well, all right, we'll do an investigation there too. When we found this out now, it only came to light after Imbert refused to lay in Parliament, as the law provides, the Auditor General's report. Because what they were trying to do, he was trying to force the Independent Auditor General to toe the line and cook the books. She refused to do it. The Rowley government faced allegations that it was bullying the Auditor General after it sent a pre-action protocol letter when the Auditor General refused to accept new statements which were submitted after that understatement of revenue, And when it was discovered, they tried to send some new ones and tried to force her to redo the report. What they had to do eventually is that come back to Parliament, come to the Parliament. These accounts were not accepted. The government moved Parliament to extend the time for the Auditor General to present a report after the time set by the law of the land. That matter is now before the courts, but it exposed the Rowley government as liars who up to now cannot say where the $3 billion have gone. This thieving PNM government has gone with $3 billion missing. But they will not escape. They could run, but they cannot hide. They can run, but they can't hide. We will go after them. We look for your money. That is your money. You pay those tax dollars. So, we still reach only half the year. We know when? June. Finish me. $3 billion missing. Yes. June. Jindal. Jindal, you remember Jindal? In June, Bacchanal number 6 occurred. Rowley tried to get Jindal Steel and Power Limited, led by its chairman, Indian businessman Naveen Jindal, to come to Trinidad to buy the Petrotrin refinery to process Maduro's Venezuelan oil. Jindal is internationally discredited. He is facing criminal charges back in his homeland of India. A Forbes report said the federal investigator booked Jindal for what it claims were kickbacks paid by him to an ex-minister in exchange for being granted coal mining rights. The question now is, who may have been in line from this thieving government to get kickbacks for the Petrotrin refinery? We called them out. We all did. We called them out. We called on Rowley to address allegations of corruption involving Jindal and questioned his reported connection, this is Jindal, with Venezuela, Maduro's Venezuela. And then Jindal backed out of the corrupt deal because we exposed him. We exposed Jindal and he had to drop out and run. We exposed him. Remember that. You know, say, what is the opposition doing? You know how many exposures we have had? And that is the job of the opposition. A loyal opposition is to get you, government accountable, keep the government transparent and accountable. That's part of our job. July, Bacchanal 7. FUL for Alan Warner. Not Jack, Alan Warner that MP Mulila spoke about. In July, Rowley and the government's blatant corruption were in full glare of the public when it was revealed that Rowley and Stuart Young, in his capacity then as a National Security Minister, Stuart Young, they had both sent messages to former Police Commissioner Gary Griffith for granting an FUL license and a blasting license, I didn't say blasted, and a blasting license for Rowley's friend Alan Warner. The message was sent to Griffith in the morning, and by evening, Griffith had approved the FUL and sent it to Rowley's special branch officers to hand deliver to Alan Warner, all in one day. All in one day. All in one day to hand deliver to Alan Warner. This is the same Alan Warner Dr. Mulila just spoke about. And can I tell you, by the way, Alan Warner was the owner of the townhouses in Inez Gate, where all the fellows, the girlfriend partners, line up. Inez Gate. Corruption and abuse and misuse of office by all 3 office holders for FULs. While the average law-abiding citizen, you are denied the right to access a legal firearm. We say the UNC, when you put us in office, you will be entitled to apply for, and once you qualify, you will get a legal firearm to protect. You know, the Brandeg's aunt, elderly lady, throat slit. If there was someone in that house with a licensed firearm. I saw a video where they took a man out of they dragging him like an animal. If there was someone else in that home with a licensed firearm. So it's for defense, it's for defense, to protect your loved ones, to protect your family. August is which month of the year? Which August? 8? 8. Bacchanal 8. HEC, $475 million contract for Chinese contractor. In August, the government was once again caught in corruption when Rowley's personal friend, executive chairman of NH International, Emilia, said, this is his friend said it, he was deeply concerned about the intention of the HDC to award China Harbour Engineering Company Limited nearly $500 million contract to construct houses in Santa Rosa, even though the Chinese company submitted the highest bid of $475.8 million, when local contractors' bids were much less. Okay? By the way, the chairman of HDC is another partner of the Prime Minister. His name is Noel Garcia, Rudy. HDC Noel Garcia. Now, he doesn't own a townhouse at Inez Gate. But I'm told, and I'm asking if this is true, he has purchased a piece of land in Tobago that was the maker of the land date scandal, if you remember, on that same compound. Senator Mark sent me some documents which I haven't had a chance to look at very carefully. But it says all in the family, all in the government partners and friends. And this bid, shame and scandal, the bid was scuttled after the Office of Procurement advertised they were going to review and investigate the award of this contract. HDC panicked and dumped the contract and the contractor. So it's a kickbacks, corruption, again, the legacy of this Rowley PNM. Legacy of the PNM. September 2024, property tax payment fiasco. In September, Rowley government's bacchanal, scandalous and chaotic nature was again on display. Ministry of Finance implementation of the property tax payment system, we saw tens of thousands of citizens suffer from unpreparedness and poor implementation. The property tax would only be paid in person, with cash or check, at a BIR office. The deadline then set in September was for September 30. Caused thousands of persons to flood the BIR offices to pay up because they didn't want to have to deal with the penalties for non-compliance, because it was at the end of September. People were forced to get into the lines. They didn't have accommodation. You remember, out in the hot sun or the rain, punishing heat, unresolved queries, other traumas to pay property tax, which was then used to give Rowley and his ministers a pay increase. Think of all that. All that property tax they collect every month. They say, deadline is the month. Deadline. We're doing that every month. Every month. So what is the new deadline, Jayanti? December. You're not going to, so they're scraping every cent, forcing you, because if you don't comply, they could seize your house, they could sell your house. It's a very frightening state of affairs, and that's where they are. So, again, in all its backwardness, full display. And again, who suffers? You. The citizens suffer. October, $50 million FET money. $50 million FET. In October, another glaring example of the Rowley government's corruption and wastage of tax dollars, full display. In the budget documents, Imbert announced a staggering increase in the entertainment budget in the Prime Minister's office, which was $890,000 for the year 23 to 24, 1 year. They raised that to $50 million for the year 24, 25. $50 million, Parang Saturday or when? Christmas party, I think it was Saturday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. In my budget response, I accused the Prime Minister of fetting while the public, urging the public hold strain, tough economic times. I noted that the $50 million earmarked for official events was put it together with what they gave for strengthening child protection system. So $50 million for the Office of the Prime Minister for FET and drinking rum, and $1 million allocated to strengthen child protection systems. Where are the priorities? A shame. A shame. They cut what by 5? They cut the Children's Authority, me too, $5 million. But $50 million for what? FET and drinking rum. That's the official entertainment. But it's an election year. So let's see, Mr. Rowley, careful, you're spending our $50 billion this year. We're coming for you. We are coming to find out where this money's gone. Where is it going? So $50 million for fat and drinking, while citizens are told to do what? Tighten your belt and hold strain. That is the nature of the PNM. They choose fetting and rum drinking with their PNM pedophile friends over financing children's welfare and development. November. Now the year isn't finished yet, huh? November. Pay rise. In November, Rowley and his PNM MP's greediness was evident for all to see when they accepted the salary increases proposed by the SRC. This government raised their own pay after bankrupting the country. This was after offering workers a measly 4%, telling everyone to hold off until when? 2027. This is one of the most tone-deaf, callous, selfish moves ever made by a prime minister and his government. This, when the Minister of Finance was asked about it in an interview, or when he was dealing with the same Tobago airport scandal. When he was asked, he said, the Prime Minister has already made a statement. I have nothing to add. And I think the reporter got buffed, because she asked again, but what is your view on this? You were saying the Treasury has no money, we can't do anything. What is your, I have nothing further to say. The Prime Minister has pronounced. So what is it, a dictator? According to somebody who spoke earlier, the king and queen, he decrees. The rest of the cabinet has no say in this. And I'm asking tonight whether the young MP, Leon's is his name? Adrian Leons, did not get back his seat because he was the only PNM MP who said he did not think they should take the salary increase at this time. It was in the newspaper. He's the only PNM MP who said we should not take this pay increase at this time. So I don't know if that's why going get back his seat or if there's more in the motor than the vessel. So here we come now, December. We're in December. Tobago Airport. Tobago Airport. This month, first week, December, I exposed the massive cost overruns at the airport. And as I said, the Tobago A&R Robinson International Airport project to the tune of about $500 million. And whilst I mentioned the name of Mr. Robinson as a good son of Trinidad and Tobago, and especially of Tobago, today is his birth anniversary, today the 16th. We're also the date of an election in the past. So we named the airport A&R Robinson after Robinson as a son of Tobago, who made Trinidad and Tobago proud, we named it. I understand they're rushing this airport, Dr. Munilal and Mr. Warner, so Rowley could put a, what do you call it, a cornerstone with his name on it. A plaque. He wants it, he's desperately pushing to get this airport to put this plaque. Put a plaque. I didn't hear that. The Prime Minister's best friend, Munilal told us, is again at the center of another scandal. He's a big contractor on the project. Now, right after we exposed them, Ahmed came to lie. I think Munilal dealt with it, so I won't go into detail. I think you all could remember. Then after the leaked cabinet note proved he was lying, he came with his tail between his legs to backtrack, and admitted the cost overruns. There is massive corruption going on in this project. I have called for a criminal investigation into this matter, and I maintain now that Imbert must be fired. But if he's not fired, we will vote them out. Come election, we vote them out. I saw the media recently dredging up a failed businessman, Mikey Joseph, to defend the PNM on this project. If the best person that the PNM could find to defend them is this total waste of time person, we know the PNM is in deep trouble, deep trouble. So as I come to a close at the end of the year, I've already given you a preview of what is going to be happening in January with the pensions and the public assistance. Pensions and public assistance.